And I will probably mute everything on my end during your introduction just so I can get a handle on the music, which I think is fine, but...
One way to find out.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I say that, I'll probably forget. You know me.
She'll be fine.
Speaking of... Hello, and welcome to the second inaugural Sword and Tea, where we are discussing Ryuutama today. I am one of your hosts, Eva, she, her pronouns. This is my glorious other co-host today, Anik, she, they. Do you want to
Correct.
go
Hi,
ahead?
my name is Nick. Yeah, my name is Nick. Yeah, she day, other co-host today. Usually DM stuff on this Sunday slot, but today I get to come and talk about one of my favoritist games that I not entirely accidentally happen to also be casting for a little mini campaign coming to Sword and Key in April.
There you go.
Smooth.
Yep, I'm good at this.
You're a professional.
Or something.
Take it away, Eva. I have nothing else to introduce right now.
That is fair. So, kind of as with Rune, this is a brief overview of the game. It is a brief how to play. It is not a learn to play today. If there are some rules or concepts that don't quite give the full picture, that's kind of by design. There are some games that we will probably do learn to play streams for at some point. They will be clearly marked. Today it is just a kind of touching on the things that we like, the things that we appreciate about the game, and if there are kind of stumbling blocks that we find, we'll probably mention those as well. And yes, this is also clearly, I think we do kind of already like the game because we have committed to 6-ish sessions in April, starting in April. So that kind of tips our hand a little bit as to how we feel about it. Just to
be fair, I have already played a fair amount of the game.
Yes.
And it's never let me down, so.
It's good to go over games that we're very familiar with and share with others why we like them. That's okay too. As I think we'll get into, like, I personally really love narrative focused games. I really love rich worlds. I really love collaborative world building. And I don't need a game to have any of those, like all of those things together. It makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside when it does. There are definitely other things I look for when picking up a game. Art is kind of also top of my list. And Ryuutama has some of... I don't want to say that it's gorgeous.
It's so pretty.
Yeah.
And some of it's really cute, and some of it's just impressive. Like in the book, there's little comics that show little parts of the rules, and they're just like adorable little chibi style art bits. And then you get to like the illustrations of the seasonal dragons, and it's just all detail, all beautiful. Even the cover's pretty. I'm pretty sure my green screen isn't gonna let me do this, but I have the hardcover version. of Ryuutama. See, that's where the green screen goes. I
Oh.
don't have anything embarrassing behind me, I think.
Didn't mind it at an angle, which was weird.
No, which is weird. Green screens are evil. Let's drop the Ghibli style background and see if it works.
It's funny because the cover is a separate file.
Look at it.
Oh, yeah.
Even as a little doggy companion.
I was gonna say I could just put it up on my screen, but I can't. It's not.
Yeah, the front isn't in the PDF you buy. Oddly enough.
No, I have it as a separate file. For some
It's
reason.
only available in hardcover and PDF. So, whichever you prefer. I know I own a lot of gaming PDFs because shipping is atrocious, and the only reason I have Ryuutama hardcover is because I managed to ship it from Japan to someone in America, and the person in America was nice enough to send it on to me.
That would explain a lot, actually.
I do think the next print that's coming this year is going to be available through Indie Press. So that will be much easier to get to wherever you live. Because I tried to buy one and it was almost sold out, so I found a deeply questionable website. I'm going to be honest about it. And I'm just really happy it ended up working out for me. I just wanted it really badly. And I was like, oh, well, it might go wrong, but we're going to try.
Valid. I know that feeling of desperately wanting something and being like, please don't sell my information and steal all
Please
my
don't be
money.
a scam.
And yeah.
Don't ship me bricks. I need this.
Yeah.
It worked out really well. When the person in America had to ship it to me, it briefly got lost in the mail, and it got scanned in Jamaica.
Oh no.
And we were so confused until it turns out there's apparently a Jamaica in New York.
Yes. Yes, there is.
It took forever, but in the end, it got to me.
Resolution.
Resolution.
Well, hopefully I don't forget when the next printing comes out, because I would like I don't need everything in hardcover or physical form, but just the prettier the art is, like, books can definitely be their own work of art, and
Exactly.
I think Ryuutama is one of those.
I would agree. I put it alongside like Bluebeard's Bride, which is also stunning artwork. I mean, I can talk about how much I like the Wiesen artwork, but I got some of it tattooed on me, so you know, showing a little bias there. Yeah, I like books. Very different art styles, but it's always done in a way also that it plays with the layout nicely.
Yes.
I've also played a lot of D&D and I play a lot of Pathfinder, and even though I like a lot of the individual art that they add or have, I don't always like the way they put it in their books, if that makes sense.
Sometimes it just...
Like, there's something just a random picture on a page, and I'm like, why is it?
Yeah. It just sits there instead of...
Yeah.
I mean, it's always nice to have art, but it should also work with the text and not just
Exactly.
be there. What you have a nice mug. What are you drinking today?
Well, it might be called Sword and Tea, but I'm Dutch and it's 7:15 and I'm on a long weekend, so I'm having beer.
That's now
Be on Sword and Tea. I should probably put it in a mug, but I don't want to lie about it.
no, that's I mean, makes sense to me. It is 10:15 in the morning for me, so I
Maybe
have
a little early for beer.
yeah. I am having some Mistress Grey from Friday Tea.
See, that would be the other thing. The tea I have been drinking isn't technically tea because it doesn't contain tea leaves. I've just been drinking hot ginger water with honey, so I don't want to get like
Oh, that sounds good though.
cancelled by the Tea Society for not drinking tea when I'm on the tea place. I think at least beer is far enough away tea.
If you're gonna cross the line out of tea, go all the way.
Exactly. Don't be in the dangerous gray zone.
Oh my gosh, that's really funny. Let's see. Do you want to give the game particulars, or would you like me to?
You can do the boring meta stuff.
Oh, great. Okay. I like how I get.
I'll just jump in when I feel that you're missing things. That seems fair.
Well, I was just going to say, I mean, the command was in chat, but it's Ryuutama is by Atsuhiro Akata. It is translated into English and sold through Kotohi.
Yep.
And it just occurred to me, I don't know if they do other games. They must, right?
They do.
Yeah.
The
link is in chat with exclamation point Ryuutama.
I can't pronounce one of the other ones. Shinobigami and Tenra Bansho Zero are their other two games.
Okay.
They're all on kotohi.com if you're interested, which is also where you have downloadable resources for Ryuutama.
Yeah. They are very good about giving you nice little... I like their character sheets. I like their... I looked and I saw that they had some other GM stuff, but I didn't look at what they were, so I'm not going to speak to that. Although, would you like to maybe...
I can speak to that a little bit.
I was going to say, why don't you explain like kind of what makes Ryuutama less of a GM and more of a...
So you're not even called a GM. You're sort of like part of the group. You get like a DMPC called a Ryujin, which is its own character. That also, as you guide travelers through the world, you can also level up. And when you make your Ryujin, the first thing you do is you pick a color. You have green Ryujin, blue, red, and black Ryujins. And you pick the color that matches the theme and tone of the stories you want to tell. So like a green Ryujin is very much adventure, exploration, hope, whereas the blue Ryujin would focus more on families, found families, and relationships between people. Red Ryujin is much more... I kind of call it the D&D Ryujin. It's dungeoneering and exploration and monster hunting. And then the black one is very much, if you want to go into like the darker side, where it's corruption and tragedy and war. And the way your Ryujin character can influence the story has to do with that color, because you get powers and items that will allow you to help your group if they're ever stuck on a journey. Because in the world of Ryuutama, everything is based on seasons, and the dragons need to be fed tales and stories to keep the seasons turning. So as Ryujin, you're like sort of a part dragon, and you guide and follow travelers to collect their stories as they journey. And then when you have enough of their stories and tales, you feed it to one of the great dragons. So say your brave group. I have an example for one of the games I ran. I was I kind of like making a teal Ryujin, because I can never pick between green and blue. So I sort of mix and match. And I had a group of travelers, and they were helping to save a stranded creature that was stuck in the ocean and was causing havoc on the coastal town it was near. And the reason we pitched this as 127 hours from each Ghibli is because there are roles in this game that determine how you do on things. And things can go very bad very quickly. Like 1 or 2 bad rolls can decimate your hit points. So one of my characters rolled really badly on trying to swim, untrained, and started drowning, and none of the other characters were nearby, and I was like, okay, so this cute little one-shot is gonna end in a gruesome character death, normally. But as Ryujin, you can manifest a part of your life energy or your life spirit, and you pay experience or life points basically to step in and help the character that's in trouble. So you can use one of your benedictions. So my little Ryujin appeared and helped the drowning character back to land, which gave both of us an epic story, which helped me progress the season. And on the one hand, it's almost like a safety net for the characters, but it also means that once they realize that you're literally spending your life points to help them, yeah, they can kill their DMPC by being reckless, and it becomes much more symbiotic than when you're just a GM running the world what the players are playing in, and it becomes much more of a balance between, well, if we do this, it's going to affect. In my case, they had already seen her before as a cute little white hedgehog, but she actually appeared in her half human, half dragon form to save them, and they went, oh, this is what we're messing with. This cost her 1/4 of her life forces. So we're gonna keep adventuring and helping people. We're gonna be a little more careful. Which is not, unless you're playing like a direct deity in like D&D, that sort of back and forth of helping each other, even though you're technically the DM, is something I really appreciate about Ryuutama.
It is interesting that they give you stakes on both sides. And it's also really nice because your Ryujin progresses from story to story, right? Like you have a kind of character arc.
You have a character sheet as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it depends a little on what your group does, because I like to, as you well know, I like to take very simple things and stretch them out. Like a one-shot for Wiesen that I make last for 11 episodes. So also when I run a Ryujin, I sort of tone down the amount of experience I would get for the amount of sessions I run for something, because no need to overpower myself badly. But yes, your Ryujin also has a story arc and experience points, and when you level up, you can help your party in different ways.
I love that.
It's very cute.
Well, and it gives, everyone should always have a stake in the story, but it's kind of nice to have that. I always feel when I run D&D or any other game where there's the game master, I still feel like game masters are players, it's just a different sort. Ryuutama really takes that and is like, no, like for real a player, just a different label.
Yeah.
And Ryuutama lends itself to, I know I've played in a one-shot, but it does lend itself to kind of campaign-style stories, right?
I think so. I like the little one-shots, but I set them all in the same world. I've played in a multi-session mini-campaign. I've run a full campaign. It very much depends on the kind of story you want to tell, but especially you can make it episodic, because like you go to a town, you solve a problem, you go to a town, but you can also just make really big overarching teams. And the whole setup of your traveling party, unlike a lot of other games where you need some tortured background or criminal mishap before your character has a reason to travel, in the world of Ryuutama, it is assumed that every single person at some point in their lives will undergo a journey. And whether that's when you're 8 or when you're 70, that doesn't matter. At some point, you're going to go, right, this is when I'm going on my journey. So the stakes can be as high and as low as you want them to be. So one of my campaigns was nothing but cute little adventures while they were trying to get this old woman to her super sapphic pen pal across the country. So
I love that.
it was so adorable, and it was just this really great mix of super low stakes and super high stakes. Because of course we want the elderly lesbians to be together, but also we need to find, but also we need to get these reed baskets to the next town over, and those go together really well. And I really enjoy that mix. And in one of the campaigns I played in, there was something rotting away the country, and there was this big overarching thing for us to discover what was happening and then to solve it, it's a very classic quest line, and it works as well in Ryuutama.
Well, it's very... Part of the premise is that it's not warriors and archmages and whatnot. It's your farmers and your merchants and your craftspeople. Yeah.
So yeah, that if you look at the traveler options, in addition, everyone starts at level 1 in theory, but there's no wizard or like fighter. It is literally minstrel, merchant, noble.
Let's see, I've switched over to the traveler sheet. So yeah, we've got, and of course the adorable art to go with it.
They're so cute.
The hunter.
And yes, the thing is, hi Lana, welcome to chat. If you become a certain type of character, you can flavor it however you want. So if you want to be a crochet influencer who travels with a weird goat, then of course that is something we can do.
What a completely random and not at all specific example.
No, definitely didn't happen. Also, definitely not returning as an NPC in the next mini campaign. Your goat was very weird.
I'm noticing a theme. Well, no, I guess there weren't goats in Bluebeard's Bride.
There were no goats in Bluebeard's Bride. I will say that in addition to your class, in every party you have party roles, which is also something I massively appreciate in Ryuutama, because it's something that tends to happen in all role-playing groups, but unofficially. Whereas in Ryuutama, they've made them, like, they've put them on paper and said, right, these are things everyone's going to have to keep track of. And if you pick a party role, and someone does those really well, they can interact as well with the Ryujin. So you have the quartermaster who keeps track of all your stuff and your money, and you have the mapper who tries to figure out where you are and where you're going, which is very important because failed travel checks can be very bad for your health. But one of the very important ones is the journal keeper, because this entire game is about telling stories to people and animals and dragons and the seasons. So the journal keeper writes down what the party's been doing. And if they do that in a way that you enjoy, or if you do it very well, then the Ryujin can take that tale and give you bonuses for that sort of thing. And it's just, one of my players kept the journal completely in character and posted it online for us after session, and it was just really, really nice.
I love that. That was not me.
No, it wasn't. It was in my longer campaign.
I'm gonna switch back. We had touched on earlier about how the rules and stuff are, even those are illustrated. Yes. And one of my favorite illustrations is the there's tons, but just the definition and description of the dice. it's I everyone knows D4's step when you heard on them, unless they're the very pretty, like, jewel type ones. But rulebooks never just say it, and this one does.
It does. Yes. You also have the page on status effects. On page, I don't know if you have it open, page 99. They have little icons to go with their descriptions of the injuries that make it look like a creepy little medical chart.
Physical page 99?
Both. PDF and physical page 99.
That's right, because it doesn't have a cover. It actually,
It doesn't.
Oh gosh, here we go.
You can do it.
Also, you're welcome, chat, for not making you, like, watch as I scroll through 99 pages of...
Can't you just select a page
Sure
on
could
top?
have. Sure could have. But I was already scrolling when we discussed
That's
that it was
fair.
the same.
So they have cute little icons, and I like the one for exhaustion, which is just this person going, ugh. Which is like, yeah, I feel you.
Yeah, no, it's a whole mood.
It is. And if you're still scrolling, page 102 has one of my favorite things about this book and the way they wrote their rules. And something that I found in third-party stuff for like D&D and Pathfinder. Yeah, there it is. A flowchart for checks you have to make. I love flowcharts because it means I can't get confused. And even a flowchart has little icons. And so I like when we start playing, because people get, I'm not gonna lie, it can be confusing. When is it a condition check? When do you have to do the travel check? And if to do the travel check, what does the camping check do? And it can get a little confusing the first few times you do this. So I said, okay, well, print it out, tape it up, just go down from 1 through 4. And it tells you what to do, what happens when you critical something.
And if someone can help.
Yes.
That's always good to know. It's always good to help your fellow travelers.
When we go back to what we call this 127 hours meets Ghibli, if you fail your travel check, or in some cases fumble it, you quarter the character's current hit points, and that's before you start the day. Suddenly makes sense why the Ryujin can help.
Yeah, sometimes getting out of bed is a struggle.
Just too much to ask.
Even in the RPG world.
Yes. Oh, another thing I really like about Ryuutama, if I'm going too far off topic, let me know. But we already said you have character class, but then you also have party role. What I really like about Ryuutama is when you have minstrel, merchant, hunter, healer, farmer, artisan, noble. None of those are implicitly or explicitly able or unable to use magic. Magic is something every class can pick. So I like that that's not like gate-kept behind certain class options.
Mm-hmm.
Because I like making the combination of whatever the hell you want to play. And if you want to be a magic farmer, then please go be a magic farmer. If you want to be a healer who doesn't use magic, that sounds awesome too. And I really like that they've separated those things.
Yeah, well, and it makes a lot of sense if you're still but if you're supposed to still be part of the common, regular people,
Mm-hmm.
That magic hasn't, like, separated you out already.
No.
No, I like that too.
I've met a lot of magic farmers. All of them were great. And some classes have... I do notice, maybe it's the kind of people I play with, a lot of people gravitate towards the classes that give you free pets. Mm-hmm. So there's always a lot of animals involved in my Ryuutama games as well, weirdly enough.
It me.
Oh, it's so many people. I've had parties where the pet people ratio was heavily in favor of the pets.
But you gotta take care of them too.
Yeah, they eat food and everything. And the quartermaster has to keep track of all of that. So I have had the quartermaster at one point going, "You cannot bring another cow. We do not have the food.
What is it going to eat?"
Exactly. They can carry their own food. Where are we getting the food? We have no money. So I know a lot of people hand wave tracking that kind of stuff in a lot of other RPGs, but it's pretty essential to Ryuutama, as well as figuring out how much money you have, because you don't start with a lot of money. And cute things are literally twice as expensive as non-cute things.
It makes sense. I hate it,
Whereas
but it
if
makes sense.
yeah, but uncool things or smelly things are cheaper. So if you're absolutely desperate for like rock climbing shoes because you're from a completely flat place and this is your first foray into the mountains and you're like, I have 2 coppers, people are like, well, I have these super smelly used, and they're like, I mean, it's a 0.5 modifier. You can take it.
It's gonna help, and you're gonna need all the help you can get because
Yep.
terrain makes a huge difference.
Terrain and weather.
Yes.
Terrain can be just about anything. Weather is also partly controlled by adorable and beautifully illustrated weather dragons. Your own magic can try and you can have one of my favorite magic spells is where you make little leaf umbrellas for everybody that keep the rain off of you.
Aww.
Super adorable.
Oh,
I know
cute.
everything is so cute until you die.
No, it is very much a do you like spreadsheets? Sort of.
It is. I mean, disgusting rations are 5 gold and delicious rations are 70. What are you going to like? I've had noble characters go, I will starve.
Yeah, no, the currency, the value system.
The economy is wild.
Economy is the word I was looking for, and it makes no sense.
There is a reason all but one party I've played with so far has resorted to bartering. Because everyone looked at the cost of things and was like, what the?
I mean,
would you like a back massage? Or maybe we can clean the... Do you need your sidewalks swept?
Please?
Yeah.
Anything.
Which, fair enough.
Do you need your cow washed?
I will say that dealing with the animals, paying for an animal also comes with modifiers. So a cranky animal is cheaper than a smart animal, which is why Lana, who is happily in chat still, maybe I think, ended up with a baby goat, because baby animals are only a third of the cost of an adult animal.
But they also can't do
Oh,
as
you have
much,
no
right?
abilities.
Like, yeah.
They have absolutely no ability. If you buy a pet horse, you can't use it to ride on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you still have to feed them.
You certainly do. But there are, like you said, I hope you like spreadsheets. There is a simplification option, which I always suggest people use when we do one-shots, because this is a lot for a one-shot, right? So for campaigns, I consider this part of it. For one-shots, we use what they call the picnic rules, which is a much simpler version of picking your items, where they just go, okay, so the party as a whole has an animal that carries 2 bottles of water and a whole bunch of food. Hand wave the rest, which is nice because you only have 3 hours and not everyone wants to spend that much time on it. I like that they have that little escape option.
Muted. In this game, it makes a lot of sense also. Again, like, different classes start out with different funds, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
A noble will have more money than a farmer. You also can make money in your downtime if you have picked certain jobs, because within your character class you can pick jobs. Yes. And skills. So some of the skills can get you some cash. and some of them can get you extra XP. So if like you're a hunter and you take trapping and you use your downtime to go monster hunting and you survive, you get extra points for things.
Which is nice to have that option. I mean, that also kind of gives you something. I feel like some games, you know, it's 2 weeks later and the only thing that's progressed is time. Like, you haven't, like, learned anything or, made money or whatever. And
I mean, that's my real life. I don't need that in games. So, there's also one of the ones that can be used really well. The merchant has a trader option. So if you buy something in one town and you try to get it cheap and then go to the next town and sell it for a lot of money, that can really, really increase your party's funds. But that goes on a roll. And if you fumble that roll, then you are out of money and stuck with aforementioned wheat baskets.
Oh no. I don't think I ever had the opportunity to use that skill, but I did have it.
We had a noble who tried it at one point, got completely charmed by the beautiful young lady selling the goods, paid full price.
Oh no.
Went to the next town. Yeah, went to the next town and ran into someone, tried to sell it as, artisanal, locally sourced, handcrafted, blah, blah, blah. And the person just pointed to the left and went, I make them myself. Did not make a lot of money on that run. No. So if you, you roll using your stats. You've very few stats and you get like a D4, a D6, a D8, D10. So some things you're really good at and some things not so much. And for a lot of the things that can make you money, you have to combine 2 stats to roll. So like trying to trade stuff is intelligence and spirit, which is like, can you tell if this is the correct person you should be selling this to? And can you make a convincing argument that they really should be buying from you? And then, the result determines how much they pay you for your wares. But a lot of the other jobs don't help you make money, but they can help you travel. So if you have someone with animal tracking, it can help you depending on which topography you're in. Hunting can help you get food. So, if you want to travel with all the animals, maybe make sure that you can get some food on the way. And some of my favorite failures have been people trying to gather herbs and failing so badly they end up picking poisonous thing. It's if you crit, you find 3 healing herbs, and if you fumble, you get a poison. It doesn't mean anything to the people. Poison 6. It's just to say it's not great. Yeah, of course it is. You just stick your arm right in. Yeah. So you only have 4 stats, which is very manageable, I think. And they also have cute little icons. So you have strength, dex, intelligence, and spirit. And you can either pick. They don't let you roll for stats. You pick from 3 options, basically. You have 4 6s. You either have a 4, a 6, a 6, and an 8, or you have 2 4s and 2 8s if you want to go heavily specialized. And as many of my players do, thoroughly enjoy failure, because that tends to make everything funnier. I let a lot of people pick 4 for 8 and go, it'll be fine. And if it's not fine, at least it'll be funny. They did make that decision after they decided they were bringing a healer, so that was a good choice. Yes. Especially because the one party rule we hadn't mentioned yet is the party leader. So you pick one person as the leader who like keeps the party together. They also get the tiebreaker vote. So if the party's in disagreement, the leader can be the one that says, "Well, listen here, my fellow peasants. What is going to happen?" Um, it is. Um, And also, like, a lot of people choose against type. So, in some of my long campaigns, the noble insisted on being the journal keeper, and the farmer ended up being the party leader for some solid common sense.
Can you still not hear me? Was I muted that whole time?
Were you muted that whole time?
Hmm. I think it was just for the last thing I said. Okay. I think it was just for the last thing I said, which I don't remember what I said, but Anik, you were doing
captions. They can read it.
Yeah. And I was just kind of prompting questions as opposed to yeah, okay.
Oh, good.
Sometimes I just mute it when I am like clicking through looking for something, but it's okay.
More artwork to share. There's so much good artwork.
Oh no. Yeah, I was showing the oh no. I was sharing the party role artwork. Illustrations, I guess, is a better way of saying it. Yeah, but yeah, I like how they have the kind of the explanation of what the roles are, kind of like you were just saying, as they should, but you know, not just what the mapper does on a technical level, but as like a member of the group, kind of narrative wise.
Exactly, you are expected to like weave this into your role play as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you'll be stopping and taking notes, and if you're not taking notes, then what are you going to refer back to when you have to make a navigation check?
I know at one point the journal keeper always wrote down what they did at the end of the night, like around the campfire or whenever they were in the next town. And at one point, one of the party members was like, "Let's have a read as to what's happening here." And it turns out the journal keeper was keeping a very truth adjacent story of what was going on. It was very much a well, dear reader, today I single-handedly saved blah blah blah, and you know, crossing a roaring river, and the other character's like, it was a stream. What are you?
And you slipped on the one rock in the middle of the stream.
Yeah, like you're the one who got wet pants. Why are you?
It's so good.
So, it was so much fun, and then they sort of like put it down and went, "I'm just gonna pretend I didn't read that. I'm just gonna walk away." So yeah, those are fun little things you can do using your party role in the actual game. God, I love this game so much. Oh, we only briefly mentioned it, but I'm always a caster. The magic system in this game is also very cute, and casters are not necessarily overpowered because there's nothing to be overpowered by, because combat is very depending on your Ryujin. So if you're a red or a black Ryujin, there will be more combat because you'll be fighting more monsters.
Makes sense.
In general, it's always assumed you're never finding other people. It's always monsters, because why fight people?
Aww.
But also a lot of the magic is the kind of magic that makes sense for non-adventuring types, or for people on a journey that isn't like necessarily safe, but also not like you're not going straight in dungeon crawling specialist. So you get something that gives off a little light, and You get a compass that tells you the way in case you get lost. Or one of my favorite ones, the only thing the spell does is make little flowers grow. It's so cute.
That's adorable. But it's still, and I like that gives. I mean, obviously it's magic, but it's that like cozy magic, kitchen magic, which I think is a terrible way of describing it now that I say it out loud.
Yeah.
But it's not the like giant battlefield battle mage.
No, it's
Epic.
very.
Yeah.
It's again tied to seasons. So when you pick magic, you pick either spring, summer, fall, or winter.
Mm-hmm.
And spring magic is the one with the cute little flowers. It has some healing. Some of the mid-level spells are like detect hearts in love because, sometimes people need to be put together a little bit.
Yeah.
Or if you want to be if you want to be the worst person to have ever personed, you make allergenic pollen appear.
Oh no.
Giving everybody hay fever, which it is adorably one of the nastiest spells I've ever read.
That's very funny. And a good use of I mean it's a clever use of
Yeah, it's cute spring magic. What happens in spring? Pollen tried to murder us all.
So if you wouldn't mind going into seasons a little, because they're very important in Ryuutama.
Yes.
So games typically take place over. So for this game coming up, takes place in one season, right?
Yes. We're playing it where you do, the one campaign or the one mini campaign is one season, and at the end of the season, you feed the stories of that little campaign to the seasonal dragon, which then progresses the season, which is also very cute. And then it doesn't mean that you can, like, your characters can level up during the season. Your Ryujin can level up during the season. Seasons can last as long and as short as you want. Because aside from those magic and season and dragon rules that are in the book, the entirety of world creation is done by the Ryujin together with the party.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be skipping that for the next campaign because we're playing in the world we've already built. But you bring your group together. You grab your little world creation sheet and you're like, all right, what shape is this world? And how large is it? What are the major threats? What are the big mysteries of our time? Which countries are the major representative that we'll be playing with? So one of the podcasts I listened to that played Ryuutama had a donut-shaped world. And one of the biggest mysteries of the world was, where is the center? And that was both a mathematical question and a philosophical question. And that made their decisions for how they played their seasons different, because what they decided was that every quarter of the donut had a season, and whenever they fed stories to the dragon it sort of like rotated to the next season. So they like rotated the donut.
Interesting.
So it's very, very much a how do you want to play this?
Yeah. I like that a lot. Huh.
And then in addition to doing world creation with your party, what I always do is whenever people make NPCs, I like to make their hometowns, because there's also a sheet for village creation with some guided questions that you can build out of. And then for a lot of the one-shots and the one campaign that I've streamed, I used what is the current threat of your hometown as plot hooks. So the elderly lesbians who needed to meet after being pen pals for years, that was the backstory and hometown of one of my players. And we hit most of the hometowns of the other players as well. Aww. And dealt with their threats and stuff. And there's a lot of they see someone coming up on the road what do they look like? Describe them to me. What do you think they're called? It's very the collaborative narrative is in the rulebook. Like it's not implied. It's just right there. It's a sit down, fill out this form,
Mm-hmm.
and go from there.
So you get to kind of do vibe checks on describing. Everyone kind of gets a chance to describe the.
The
Yeah, I started that sentence and then I was like, well, that's pretty much what you just said.
But the thing that makes it fun for me is that you go around the table, so the other players help make another character's hometown. So you might have had a big picture in your mind of what's going on in your hometown, and then one of your other players goes, and there's a big fat clock in the center, like Big Ben, and they'd be like, okay, that is now
I didn't remember that, but yes, you're right.
It's always been there. How could I have forgotten? So that's the sort of thing it makes you. I do say that you do need players who can like make those little side steps quite easily. You don't want someone who panics when you say, so what are they called?
Right.
Because that does tend to pop up. But it's also extra fun for me because at one point I put someone on the road for them to meet who I intended to be helpful. And the party described them as angry and belligerent because he had a debt to settle with one of the characters. And I went, all right, that's where we're going today. Perfect.
Well,
guys, you better start running, fuckers.
If you're gonna make it harder for yourselves, go for it. What's that like?
The character that they described that person being mad at went, yeah, that is definitely something I would have done. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think so. Kind of to summarize all that, there's a lot of collaborative world building both in the world, the NPCs, but characters are created on everyone's own, right? It's not like a 10 Candles where you like, or Paranoia where you like switch stats or anything like that.
Yeah, you make your character yourself. You pick your class, your type, whether or not you have magic. You will do that on your own.
And you know ahead of time what color Ryujin you'll have, right?
Yes. Yeah.
So you don't need to, if you know you're going to have green, you don't need to prepare in case of red or anything like.
Well, even if you have a green still, like you're still going out traveling in the world.
Sure.
So there's always an option for combat, right? There's wild animals. There's these little, they're called Nico goblins. They're like cat goblins that are like the bandits of the world. Which they had to reskin because they were so cute. No one wanted to fight them in the playtests.
Oh no!
So it's still a dangerous world. Like you can fall off a rock surface. So in general, you do plan for an option for combat, which is a super basic system. But you also need to like for the RP, you need to prepare for the tone of the game. So if you're coming in black cloak, black lipstick, black eyeliner, ready to go down the gothic, corrupt path to darkness, then, I mean, you might have shown up to the wrong game with me because that's probably on a Tuesday and this is on a Sunday.
Sure.
But if you have like a green-blue Ryujin, then there's probably going to be more cute stuff that makes you cry from emotions and not because your character got, gored to death by an oil slick that ended up spiky. Not that that ever happened to me nearly.
Uh-huh.
My brother spikes. The Ryujin color is very much a tone thing as well.
Sure. That makes sense. So, not only for where your character has come from, but also where you're going.
The tone of the game, the journeys you're going on. I mean, blue can be very emotional because it's like the found family one and the you know loss of loved ones. So it's not like black and red or like the scary ones. It's just a different
Yeah.
thematic setting.
Yeah.
So if you want to be like a happy-go-lucky monster hunter, then you should probably find someone who plays Red Ryujin.
Yeah.
And if you want to, you know, find out why you're suddenly fourth in line to the throne, green and blue are really fun.
I love that. Let's take a 5 to 10-ish minute break. And when we come back, we will get into, maybe we'll touch base on some combat and some character creation and go from there.
Yep, sounds good. See you soon.
I love how I am being more accurate at counting us in, but my hand countdown has significantly like degenerated. It is, yeah, it's fine. Also, I know my lighting isn't like picking up, so it's very blurry. Um, there's like a haze. Um, all right, so
Something the camera cannot comprehend your beauty.
no, one of these days I will have a proper setup again, and maybe my
Or you have a
everything will
roof
be-
again.
Yes. When I have a roof, when I have replastered the walls, it's fine.
Fixer-uppers, guys. Always a smart choice.
Fixer-uppers. Yeah, but I can't say anything because, like, okay, the farmhouse is old, but it's like 1912 old. It's not European old.
But the 1912 isn't horribly old.
No.
Though I can't say shit, I live in a house from the 1970s.
Yeah, how dare you?
I know, right?
Get out of here with that shit.
But it's the one I could afford.
I forgot. I was going to request humbly. Okay. No. For the record, I was not saying your specific European houses are old. I'm saying Europeans have a different concept of old when it comes to housing and building structures.
I agree. I had the same thing when I was in New Zealand.
Me.
And, no, I was in New Zealand at one point, and our tour guide was talking about some of the old European houses that the colonialists built, and I was like, I am older than those houses.
Yeah. It's not good. Yeah, you got me, Lana. Thank you. I, Anik, would very much appreciate if you are able to find the original, what are they? Neko goblins?
Oh, I can, yeah. They're on the Kotohi website somewhere. Hang on.
Okay, I was gonna say, like, you don't have to do it now. I just, I would love to see
you
the,
keep
like...
talking and I will find them.
Okay. I just like the idea of something being so cute that people don't want to fight it, which of course, like, anything can be that way if described properly.
In the original, so there's not a lot of, there's no DM's Guild for Ryuutama, right? There's not hundreds of people writing stories for this, but
right.
They have done, they tend to do themed seasonal writing contests where people write scenarios and submit them, and then they're like Christmas themed or whatever.
Oh, cute.
And I'm pretty sure that in the original free adventure were the original Nico goblins. They just had such cute little cat faces. There it is, the Nico goblin field note. Okay, can
I almost retrieved Ida, and then I was thinking, this is the part where I might have to be typing, And if she's gonna be like cat goblining around, I don't need that in my life. So apologies. Oh my gosh, that's cute.
Yeah, and then this one is from the first official book. The Koniko Goblin and the Nico Goblin.
I Can I?
So yeah, those got rebranded because who wants to fight them, right?
I think I can swap over here. Look at that. It worked out.
Excellent.
Okay.
But their shields are cat paws.
It should be up on the screen now.
That's the one without. Can you show the second one was the shield with cat paw?
Did you see?
That's the shape of their shields.
Oh, there's so many more.
That's two more. Two more. That's not a ridiculous amount.
Oops. Hang on, this one I'm gonna have to hold please while I zoom in. Let's search. I don't know if I can make this one bigger.
I have faith in you.
I know, but do I? Why is it so small?
Because I'm stealing it from PDFs that are no longer in existence.
I suppose.
Bootlegging has its downsides, okay?
It does. What I don't understand is why I can't zoom in on whatever this Microsoft browser is. Huh. Technology. What's this? No?
Okay. What you can do is go to the PDF.
Okay.
And
you can kind of see it. It's
go
just
to page
small.
166 and zoom in on the PDF because the other one is still in the PDF.
Oh, so it is.
As a example scenario.
Yeah, you can see that. That was the first one I was trying to find.
They're cute!
They are cute. What's he wearing on his little head? A little pot.
Oh, they tend to wear like pots and cups on their heads.
He has a little paw-shaped shield.
There's a reason for the pots on their heads, but I've already forgotten what it was.
Fair enough.
But yeah, they have their own little journal entry. There's different breeds, so whatever region they're in, their fur coats and body size will adjust to like their environment. So apparently the Calico Nico Goblin is the most common one.
Calico?
The Calicos, and you have
Cute.
the Manx, and you have the Spotted. So yeah, they're cat goblins. And you know, they're often used in scenarios. They have cute pots on their head. That's not true. The Kanekos have cute pots. The Nico and the Hobnico have regular pots on their heads. That's how you can distinguish between them a little bit. Like if you see the pot on their head, you're like, ugh, it's one of the eviler ones.
Because they can't afford the cute pots, which have a
yeah. I guess it's more of a too cool to be cute kind of thing. But in most scenarios, they're used as like rogues or thieves. They can be pretty tough. The Nico goblins tend to be cute. They're all considered spring season. Like the monsters all have a preferred season as well, and a preferred terrain.
That made me remember a question I had earlier about seasons. So when like your magic is from a season and all that, like do you get a sort of bonus if you're in that season as well, or is it just more the theme of?
So for the magic, it's mainly the theme. For the season, the weather and the terrain together can determine how hard certain checks are.
Okay.
So the terrain and the weather determine how hard your travel check is. And then the season can add to that or make things easier. For example, if you're in the mountains in summer, it can be easier because you have better visibility. In winter, it can be hard because there's tons of snow.
Mm-hmm.
So for your magic, you don't usually get a bonus, but it's very much a travel check modifier that determines that sort of thing. And then for the monsters, it can influence, like if you have a monster that is a spring type and you use spring magic on it, then depending on what it is,
sure.
it might help or it might hinder. So they might either be extra sensitive or they might resist. So that's, yeah. Whenever you, yeah. So we're sort of we said we were going to touch on combat after break. One of the actions you can do during combat is a check, which is to see what your character knows about what it is you're fighting.
And that helps you kind of tailor your...
Yeah. Because some monsters have special defenses or special skills, and they all have like little stat blocks, and under the stat blocks is flavor text, but the flavor text also contains their special ability. So one of the basic things that you can fight is like a walking egg. But if you pass your check, then you learn that the special ability of the egg is that if you reduce it to exactly 0 hit points, you get a blessing.
Oh.
So the trick becomes to be very specific in how you fight a egg with legs. And then you also have to make sure that the walking egg isn't secretly a running egg, because there's also a running egg and a riding egg. So those checks can be fun.
So this is kind of going deeper into it than I had planned to, but I have to know. So can a running egg disguise itself as a walking egg? Can it saunter?
It can, yes.
That's rude.
Yeah, it is. So the running egg tends to be larger than the walking egg, but if
it's getting a lot more
sit
cardio.
In the straw a little bit, or if you like hide yourself in like a pot or a cart, yeah, you can hide your bottom half and look smaller.
So these are Zelda rules, like players should be checking pots and behind straw bales and stuff like that?
Depends on what they're up to, but yeah, it can pay off. Maybe don't smash everybody's stuff, because that might make for a very short campaign. Because then you just go straight into jailbreak.
Okay, and I have your cartoon up. The difference in fighting in a narrow space, fighting across a long distance.
Yep. Combat in Ryuutama, you don't use battle maps. There's just close range and far range. And then there's your front zone, your back zone, their front zone, and their back zone. So when it comes to like how far away are you, what are you doing, that is super, super basic. But one of the things I really like about Ryuutama is the setup for combat is also collaborative. So after you do, like, you realize that you're doing combat, there's initiative checks to see how fast you're moving, but there's also a round where you go around to all the players and Ryujin, and you ask what items are on the battlefield. And that can be like a wall, a fallen tree, a wasp's nest, there's a stick, there's a sword. You have to make it kind of make sense to the terrain you're in, so you can't suddenly put a tank in the river type stuff.
Sure.
So it's somewhat within reason. But in general, everybody gets to pick items to put on the battlefield. And during battle, you can use those, and if you use them in a way that makes sense, you get a bonus to your rolls.
Nice, as a way of rewarding you for
using terrain cleverly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So even the setup to combat is something you do as a group, and not something the DM describes to everyone. This is what you're seeing, and this is what's happening. Everyone has a say in what is there before the fight begins.
But also kind of establishes it ahead of time, as opposed to, oh, we're in a bar, middle of a fight, like, Is there a chair around that I can grab, sort of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So in the basic rounds, you get 5 objects that you can interact with. So later on, if you say you're in a bar and no one named a chair, you can still grab a chair. You just don't get the +1 bonus from the mechanical benefit. There's still a chair. You just
Also
don't get
makes
a
sense.
+1.
Also still rewards you for your narrative preparation, but
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, I like that a lot. And so say you have those 5 items and 4 people, is that a thing where like the leader gets the extra?
If you have 4 players, the Ryujin gets the Ryujin is one of the people who picks items as well. But if you have 3 if you have 3 PCs in a Ryujin, then yes, the leader gets the extra one.
Also makes sense. I do very much enjoy this graphic, though, in terms of the long-range combat, not using, like, a spear or a bow. It's...
You know how expensive those are?
Oh, I can only imagine. It's, like, quadruple digits.
Frying pan!
And that's being optimistic. But I love the concept of a frying pan as a long-range weapon.
Just have to run a little further.
But also, like, that would have to be expensive too, because it's so useful. Cast iron.
But if you pick a combat type character, you do all get a weapon to start with.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you want to be, and depending on your region, you can just reflavor things. Because I'm pretty sure our crochet influencer had a giant club stabby weapon thing disguised as a massive crochet hook.
Nice. I mean, that would make a good
multifunctional.
Yeah, I mean that's a very good shape for a weapon. Why did I put my tea on the opposite side from where I usually drink it?
I don't know.
Would you like to move to character creation?
I would. So for the people watching at home or while walking their dog, Eva's gonna quickly go through character creation, make a person. We don't know who or what yet. And then for that person, we're going to make their hometown together, which will be in the campaign that starts in April.
Yeah, I have not. Each character type has their own character sheet. And I was not even allowed to pick one ahead of time to have the sheet up on the screen. So that's how clean we're going into this.
To be fair, there is also a general sheet.
Well, yeah, but that's boring.
You just don't want to use it. But don't scare people away with me. There is also a general sheet, if that is what you would prefer as a player.
Oh no, what did I open?
That just wants...
Oh, I wasn't in the, like, character sheet folder, and I opened the wrong one, which was... I don't know what was in it, but it was not the right thing.
Okay. Do you have your options?
I do. So, what comes with the Ryuutama PDF, and like you said, there's not a whole lot of third-party stuff for this, and I don't know if there are extra character types, but stock and standard is the artisan, the farmer, the healer, the hunter, the merchant, the minstrel, and the noble.
Yes. There is more, but it's so far only been published in Japanese. And they've been saying they're going to translate it for 4 years now, so I'm not counting on it soon.
That's fair.
But there is, if they ever translate it, or if you can do Japanese, there is a nautical edition.
Oh.
which should speak to his channel, considering how many ocean-themed games we run here.
A statistically anomalous amount, I would say.
I know, right? How do we keep doing this?
I think we're due for another game of Sunken here at some point, or a 10 Candles on a Cruise Ship or something.
I want to play both of those. I'll run those.
You deserve to play in at least some of those as well. Yes, I am writing down the cruise ship though.
For 10 Candles, the one I want to run is still the one in the IKEA.
Absolutely.
It's not gonna lie. But we should also do another one of Sunken, because... Anyway, Ryuutama.
Ryuutama.
Focus.
I got distracted by Helm of the World, which is still the best title, but yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I went back. We've got the Minstrel and the Merchant on the screen. And this is the first thing we're picking, right? Can't pick anything else.
Step one is class. You know you're dealing with a teal Ryujin, so blue-green combined.
Mm-hmm.
So exploration, found family, actual family, cute things that make you cry.
So my first reaction, and I know building an NPC, but still gonna build this like a PC essentially.
Yeah,
my first two thoughts are poorly centered scroll wheels, but healer or farmer, because generally something that's going to make you cry. Farmers are always involved somehow, it feels like, in like classic adventure stories.
No, it's true.
And healers, like, you get the really good saving, either there's the sad, oh, I did everything I couldn't save him, or like you get the something. It doesn't have to be a player, it could be one of the maybe you find a little bird or something, and there's that nice happy moment.
Okay.
I think I'm gonna go healer this time.
Okay. And grab your healer character sheet.
Yes, and I'm going to try and make this better visible for I think that works.
Okay.
Yeah, you can see that.
So I always leave character name blank at the start because I don't know who they are yet.
Yes.
You are level 1. Gender is whatever you want them to be.
I'm putting in my and I'm typing it the date American style, sorry. And
Fair enough.
that's you. I start out with no experience, right?
Correct. Technically, my Ryujin is called Ayomi because that is my character. Hang on, I'll put it in chat because I know how to pronounce it.
Thanks.
But that is something that is different in Ryuutama compared to a lot of games. So I, Anik, play the Ryujin Ayomi who does all the other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little extra layer of abstraction, but that's also where that balance in storytelling comes from, I feel.
I should have... Okay, thank you. I was like, I have been looking at the wrong chat for...
Yeah,
it's fine.
It's fine.
We're good. Okay. Okay, class, healer.
Okay.
Age.
Age has no real mechanical issue. So it's not like you get old and your physical stats drop. And
Sure. I'm going to say she's 50.
okay.
And
then after your class, you pick your type.
Mhm.
There are 3 types: attack type, technical type, or magical type. So attack is combat and weapons. Technical is like the smart assessing situations, quick solutions type.
Mhm.
And then magic is what allows you to pick magic.
I think I like tactical.
Okay, technical healer.
You said technical, not tactical. Technical.
I did say technical.
So, from the format here, it looks like you can multi-class, sort of?
You can if you level up.
Sure.
Not recommended to do it until you're like level 3, 4-ish.
Makes sense.
Because there's once you they're in character progression, there are bonuses that you get whenever you level up, and you can't even multi-class in the start even if you wanted to, because it's just a set increase in a certain thing for the first 2 level ups, I think. So first level up, you get a stat increase, and for everyone, you get additional actions in combat. So stuff like feint and search, I think, become available at level 2. And then in the next level up, a very nice one, you get a terrain weather specialty. So you can be like, I've been on the road for a bit. It's been pissing down rain the whole way through. I now know how to walk in the rain without getting my feet wet, and you've got your gear.
Right.
You know how to find your shelter. So whenever you have to make a check to see how well you do in the rain, you get a bonus because you've been through this. You know how this works.
Yeah, you've learned a thing or two. That's
you've
logical.
gone camping twice, and now you know that maybe you should bring something to sleep under.
Yeah, we'll get to gear. That's
and then 4th is stat increase, and then 5th you get extra class. So you multi-class at 5, basically, if you want to. Pretty sure you can also double up on your own class, but yeah, it gets a little, yeah. So if you pick your own class for the extra class, you just get really good at that class.
So, I get default class skills.
Yep.
And it helpfully tells me what stats I need to combine to use them.
Yes, it does. Let's see, you went with healer.
Yep. So I can already tell I'm going to need a...
Spirit and int would be your best bets.
Yeah.
Unless you want to do... I mean, you did go technical instead of magical. And what we mentioned earlier, herb gathering, where you go collect healing herbs, that goes on strength and int. And if you fumble that one, you get poisoned. If you crit that one, you get extra healing herbs. So if you're going to be healing people without deeply relying on magic, you shouldn't dump strength, basically.
Okay. That makes sense. Well,
because part of it is getting up into the weird terrain where these herbs grow. Because a lot of the things that cultivating healing herbs is something that doesn't quite work. The wild herbs always do better.
And of course, anything easily reachable has already been gathered probably by someone else, so...
Yeah.
Or eaten by somebody's goats, perhaps.
They never absolutely would, yes. Goats, cows. Again, it's shocking the amount of animals people travel with. So after you pick your so you input those, and you pick your starting ability scores as a set, as we mentioned earlier. So you can be average at everything and go 6, 6, 6, 6. You can go standard, which is 4, 6, 6, 8. or you can go specialized, which is 4488, and you can divide those over the abilities that you have. And they represent the die you roll when you make that check.
Okay. Okay. I'm gonna need a piece of paper for this.
You shouldn't need a calculator, but...
No, I mean, with me. So I'm sorry, you said it's a...
Well, first you pick if you want to go average, standard, or specialized. So if you want to be a little good at everything, bad at one thing, better at the other thing, and average at the other two, or if you want to go, I can do these two things and fuck everything else.
I think I should probably be pretty average.
Well, then you get 4 6s. Then you don't even need a page of paper. Everything's a D6.
I don't want to, but I'm going to. All right.
Speaking of animals, Oogie, wat doe je? Okay. The champion has come home to rest.
What a good girl.
After you put in all your 6s, we are going to do some fun math.
I think I got this one.
You do? Okay, I'm gonna watch you do this. Yeah.
Is it so max HP is... I don't roll for it, right? It's just my strength. It's just 12?
Yes. It is just 12.
Bless.
Unless you have a skill that increases your max health, but you don't because you're not a farmer.
Perfect.
It's like farmers get extra strength type stuff.
And do I still do math? Or, I mean, it's still 12, but do I even fill in the MP if I'm not a magic user?
You do, because there are spells that affect you based on how much MP you have.
Perfect.
So it's not you use magic by spending it, but it just represents your force of will and concentration. So you don't necessarily get like an MP save, but there are spells that are like, so if the character has under this amount of MP, they fall asleep.
Okay, makes sense. Strength and spirit is 12. So that's where I mark my condition, right?
Yes. Well, you don't have one yet.
Just
you do see on the right side of your sheet there are fumble points.
I also can't not mark that.
You haven't fumbled anything yet. So what you can do in Ryuutama is if you fumble a roll, the universe takes pity on you, and as a party you get fumble points, which you can decide to later on spend as a party to help someone do a roll.
Because you have learned from your...
You cannot undo your own fumble.
Bad experience.
That fumble point. But yes, it's failing forward.
Yeah, I like that.
So you haven't fumbled anything yet, so you don't have any fumble points.
Love that.
You also don't have any... so there's a really short little blurb on the journey rules, which is like your travel checks. I prefer the flowchart that's in the book, but that is a little bigger.
And then my initiative is always the same dex?
No, you roll dex and int every time.
Okay.
So you write it down there whenever you fight. You can, like, if you're doing a one-shot or you want to streamline things, of course you can say it's just 12. But I like a little bit of randomness.
Yeah.
And I like thinking, sometimes people are caught unprepared or they're distracted. I don't think you're always as battle ready as every other moment.
That tracks for me. Oh no, equipment.
Carrying capacity is your strength +3.
So
also something we completely hand wave in the picnic rules. You just assume you put everything on your beast of burden, basically. But if you're like a trader or a merchant, then it becomes very relevant how much stuff you can carry to see how much money you can make. So at that point you want small valuable things and not big bulky goods.
Especially if you don't have anything else to help carry them.
Yes. So, clothes or armor that you're wearing and items you're carrying in your hand don't count for carrying capacity, so you can wear armor and not count it. So that's, I think, very generous of them.
Yeah.
But this is also where things like backpacks come in, because the backpack has a weight and then the items in the backpack don't. Which is when it becomes interesting to buy like containers to hold your stuff.
Which is helpful, but also for a game that's very focused on that kind of spreadsheet, like everything having a cost, to just kind of disappear the weight is
well, in exchange for disappearing your money, so that it does force you to make a choice.
True.
Do you want to worry less about the weight by being poor?
I mean, it's a tough ask.
It is. That's why it's fun. Before we do your entire equipment, I think we should probably look at, because the top one is your weapon.
Yes.
So even if you're not a fighting type, you are still skilled in a weapon.
Yes.
And they go in categories. So you have light blades, pole arms, axes, bows, or you can prefer unarmed. And the category determines which dice you roll to attack with them.
And I don't get these for free, or I do. I can't remember. What are we doing for this?
I'm pretty sure you get a weapon for free.
Okay.
Unless you pick unarmed. Because then, why would you?
Insurance for these fists. I feel like some sort of it was polearm. Did you say a staff?
Pole arms, yeah, long spear, trident, lance. You could also say you're like an herb gathering healer, so you want something like a little hand axe.
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense.
So you would go with little axes.
Small axe.
Which is funny because you classified it as a light blade. Because a regular axe, like a battle axe or a great axe, and they're two-handed.
Yeah.
And they go entirely on your strength, and they have really bad accuracy, so I'm saying little hand axe.
Which also makes the most sense. You're not going to be cutting herbs with a great axe.
No, exactly.
Hopefully.
So they're like a small hand axe, like a sickle.
Yeah.
So those, you roll dex in +1 for your accuracy. Seeing your panicked face, it's next to small axe.
No, it's because I don't know where.
Is there a cat?
I don't know where my
terror
D6
kitten
is.
disappeared again.
I think she did disappear my relevant. Okay, so I'm rolling 2d6s.
No. When you attack with the weapon,
yes,
then you roll dex int +1. So you put dex int +1 in the accuracy box, so you know what you're rolling when it comes time to fight.
Perfect.
And your damage is intellect -1, so a d6 -1.
Fair enough. And durability?
It will be determined by the type. Like if it's already broken, that becomes a bit of a problem. So just say regular for this.
Okay.
I'm assuming you keep your items in fairly good condition.
Yeah, they're not new, but they're not rusty.
Yeah, it's not already damaged. It doesn't have any special effects.
No.
And fun little extra rule is if you're going to be in combat and you're fighting with a weapon that is not your mastered weapon, you lose a hit point for every attack to show the exertion of using a weapon that you're not used to. Like, this game is adorable and it will murder you.
Absolutely. Man, it's just out to get you at every turn.
It is so cute and it is so brutal because you start with 12 hit points.
Yeah. So, This would be my mastered weapon, though, right?
Yes, this is your master weapon. But like we said earlier, if you're in a scene and someone said, there's a sword on the ground,
Right, if I pick
and
that up
you've
to
lost your
use
axe,
it...
you're like, I'm picking up the sword, then every attack will cost you a hit point.
Yeah. Great. Love that.
I do.
So I have one small axe, right?
Yes, unless you want. This is the one you get for free. If you want more stuff, we will get to that for the shopping, which we're going to streamline a little for tonight, but.
Sure. I don't see having a shield.
I don't think you have a shield, so you can leave that empty.
Yeah. Or active armor, to be honest.
No.
No.
Probably not. Use regular clothes.
Uh,
You do also get a personal item, so an item you have an emotional bond with.
mm-hmm.
So it's flavor, has no mechanical rules.
Mm-hmm. With no mechanical benefit, I think a pendant that's just shaped like a completely non-medicinal wildflower, like I'm trying to think of a flower that would make a good pendant, and I'm like, bleeding heart.
I'm sorry, what kind of healer did you say you were?
It's
I mean, I like them as flowers, but the name implies
it's
things.
ironic.
It's also very Valentine's Day.
Oh, I suppose it is. Maybe a trillium, actually. I like that better. And it makes a much better pendant.
True. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And am I adding that to my bottom row of my traveler's outfit?
Unless you're, because my character sheet has a line for personal item. But it's on
it
the
does.
left. So
yes.
It's master weapon, specialized terrain, and personal item. You don't get specialized terrain yet, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Mastered weapon is small axe.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I for the stream I focused in on like one half of the sheet so that it was readable.
That is fair. I was on the other half of the sheet.
That's okay. It's like it's weird that there isn't a line for that, but no, there is. So I'm gonna just do a little dash to show that I skipped specialized terrain on purpose.
Yep.
Okay.
So then you get stuff like character name, your favorite color, outward appearance. Those don't have any mechanical effects. And this is also the part where you would go shopping.
Mm-hmm.
Again, the economy in Ryuutama is wild. Yep. If you're full on going one shot, there are picnic rules. Where item size and durability are completely ignored, concentration rules are ignored, all weapons go strength dex for accuracy and strength for damage, food and water automatically refilled, which is beyond luxurious and not something I don't even allow it in my one-shots because I like to drop people in the desert and tell them to figure it out.
Yeah.
Everyone has a basic traveler set for free, and the party set is a pack animal, so you get an animal for free. There's barrel, there's a wooden chest. You even get soap and a tent. It's very nice.
That's high living.
Individual characters get 1,000 gold to shop, which sounds like it's a fuck ton if you're coming from D&D until you get to the Ryuutama price list. In which case you realize you've got nothing.
Do you have a page number for the items, by the way?
I do. It starts on page 60, which gives you the modifiers, and then 61 and 62 is like services, weapons, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
You can even get magical items, so if anything that walks on its own is an extra 5,000 gold.
I mean, valid.
I mean, yeah. If you want a +1 weapon or a +1 arm, it's 8,000, so If you want something that talks to you, it's only 2,000. You know, if you want a talking barrel, can be arranged. As we mentioned earlier, cute things and beautiful things are more expensive, as are sturdy things, whereas use things, gross things, and uncool things are modifiers that make things cheaper. So if there's something you desperately need and you can't quite afford, you can accept lower stuff.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's sacrifice for,
Needs must.
yes. Yes. I also love that feasts are only found in large cities. I mean, I'm scrolling down the,
Mhm.
I got to food and,
You can't find a fortune teller in a town. You have to be in a city.
I mean, it attracts, what it attracts. Okay. We are going to wrap this up shortly. We're going to take a quick break. And I said that kind of all out of order. But we're going to take a quick break. And then as soon as we come back, we will wrap up this character and close things out. Thank you, and be right back.
See you.
I I keep coming back live and then not having the right like audio things up, so I've been muting and unmuting the T animation so many times. It hasn't like affected anything and there's no sound to it. It just is taking up space and I feel the need to click on it. Anyway, we're back. Thank you for your patience and the break. And I'm sorry I just clunked my giant wooden desk right into the mic.
As you do.
As you do. So I, while we were gone, have picked a
Ombre green.
ombre. Can't do the accent mark on this keyboard. Green cloak. Love that everyone can see how I have terrible
No, we
typing.
can't because it's just off screen, so you're good.
Oh, bless.
So we're gonna do your hometown now, which moves us to the town creation sheet. And
Yes.
like there's a whole subsection on capes in the book, and I figured we'll see what your town is like before we see what kind of cape she's wearing. Because why would she wear a sun cape if we're putting your town in like the tundra? So we'll wait with that until we've done your hometown.
I figured just like the coloring, or it could be, yeah.
It can always be ombre green.
Never hurts.
So one of the things on your character sheet is hometown and reason for travel.
Yes.
Again, the entire world assumes everyone goes on a journey at one point in their lives. You're assumed to have a walking stick. If you don't have one, there are little dragon statues along the roads that people can leave their walking stick at when they complete their journey.
I love that.
And you can collect one there. I've always had a great time having characters find old characters' walking sticks.
Yeah.
And tying everything together like that. But your town is up to you and your group. So normally you would do this with your whole group, but today it's just us. It starts with town name, which I hate. I always do that last.
Sure.
Because same as with my character, I don't know who or what you are yet, so
Yeah.
I don't feel like naming you yet.
Well, and also like it kind of depends on like where in the world that's already created. You know, what are the other?
A lot of my players so far have had very descriptive town names. So Windsweep was a town in Windy Plains, and Whitecap was a coastal town where the waves were whitecaps, and Crystal Chime was a tall mountain town. So far everyone who's made a town in this world has been kind of on the descriptive side with their names. Don't feel like you have to, but that is kind of a naming convention.
Yeah.
And you can always decide if you don't want to be a part of it. It's Ryuutama.
Sure.
So generally you make your town either character creation. Sometimes while you're playing with your players, you already know that they'll hit a town next time. So you'll make the town for next time in advance. And sometimes we do it mid-scene when you're like, okay, so you're on the road and next up is the town. And you usually go on a list of questions to help people guide into town creation. So you always pick a town population and they give you tiers. So a village is between 50 to 500 people. A town is anything 500 to 5,000. A city is already 5,000 to 20,000. And anything over that is considered a large city.
Fair. I'm feeling the 500 to 5,000 vibe. I think that's a good...
So you're from a town. Yep. And then roughly where in that range would you... Because between 500 and 5,000 would be a notable difference in how your town is set up.
I just realized I can't edit this the same as the other documents. So town, which is 500 to 5,000. Did you want me to pick an actual number, or are we just good with?
Somewhere in that 500 to 5. Like, it doesn't need to be down to the very last person.
I'm
But
gonna say
again, between 500
3,500.
and 5,000 is a difference.
Yeah, 3,500 right in the middle.
3,500, smack in the middle.
Yep. Um, love that. Also, I just have to say this: the town creation sheet image, the little tree coming up out of the egg. I
Cute,
like
right?
that a lot.
Thing. We're hatching a tree,
Yeah.
which is a town, if you want it to be. So you have a ruler or representative is where you decide how your town is governed.
Mm-hmm.
It suggests two basic systems of rule: aristocracy or democracy. And then after you pick one, you jot down name and personality of the head of the ruling party. You can also pick something far more complicated. One of my favorite towns elected its mayor every year by having a corn cob growing competition. So whoever grew the best corn became the
It's a
town
flawless
ruler.
system.
Whitecap has a serving competition every year. If you win the serving comp, then you're the ruler for that year. So
I love that.
again, one of my players had a very complex backstory with weird lost princesses from the ruling aristocracy. And they suddenly need to know why they were talking about putting her on a throne when she thought she was just a little hunter. So it can be whatever, but you can go nuts, basically.
I'm going to say democracy.
Okay.
And I'm going to say mayor. River.
Doesn't have to be mayor, you can have a council.
I like a mayor.
You like mayors?
I do like mayors. Probably because I never grew up with one. So I've
You
never.
know them from stories and folklore.
Yep. Yeah, it's a very romantic idea of this.
Oh god, you watched the Powerpuff Girls when you grew up, didn't you?
No. Familiar with them, but not in a way that colored my romanticized view of mayors. Mare, river, lions. And
How was he elected? Is it general, of they, she, her? How many terms?
I will add pronouns here as a moment elected to biannual terms. I'm pretty sure that's not how it's phrased.
As in every 2 years?
Every 2 years, yeah.
I'll take biannual.
Okay. Yeah, I hate that that's a thing. Just make it two different words. If
Please.
It means two different things.
It is in Dutch. I don't want to say who has the superior language, but...
I was just talking about this with someone, and I still can't remember it's probably French or Latin term for it, but there's...
I'm just going to eat candy while you talk. It's fine, right?
Yeah. We love candy eating. There's a monarchy term for when the monarch and the land are kind of wedded, like when the land is doing well, like the monarch prospers, and like vice versa, like they're it's a reflection of the other. I wish I could remember what that's called. I think that kind of gets the point across, but I smell coffee. But I was kind of like, and I don't think that's going to work for the mayor here, but I think elected to biannual terms by, I'm just going to say popular vote.
Okay.
Vote. But I think there might also be a magical sign if they are doing poorly. Ratified. Ratified by... So you can vote on your mayor, but if you fuck up,
So you vote in the mayor. If the mayor fucks up, the land will let you know.
Yep. He, they. Yep.
Which also makes it very easy to blame the mayor for things that go wrong.
Oh, yeah. Also love that.
Yeah.
Okay. Environment.
The terrain or environment where the town stands.
Forest. I mean, next to a forest, I think.
Next to a nice cultivated forest, or like creepy dark woods, tropical rainforest. Forest is a broad-ass term.
It is. I think it kind of exists in that space between, like behind it. On one side of the road, you've got the like cultivated forest, and then beyond that, the farmlands. But on the other side of town, you've got that like tangled, messy forest, the dense forest.
Okay, very nice.
Cultivated, open forest, and farmland. On the other side, 2 words. Is wild. Yeah, untouched is fine. Forest. Okay.
Okay. One of my personal favorites.
Mm-hmm.
The representative building. So, what building in this town do people speak of when they say this town? So we've had like a red roofed inn, the aforementioned giant mechanical clock tower.
Sure. You have to,
Yeah.
mention that.
Someone had a very famous yoga studio.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Oh, but you said building.
You can take building, like a windmill is also a building. It doesn't have to be something that people live in.
But still, like, handcrafted. I...
Made by a being. If you want to put something in the middle of
Sure.
your town and no one knows how it got there and who made it.
Sure. I really feel like, you know how there's carriage houses or like post houses where you can kind of, like a taxi stand, or like, those exist in Ryuutama, right? Where like you could perhaps get a ride from somewhere to somewhere else.
Sure.
I feel like there's a carriage house that is just extravagantly nice, like outside of like everything else. It like doesn't match the
Far nicer than everything else around it.
Yeah, like,
is it still tasteful, or are we talking tacky? Are you putting Trump Tower in the middle of this town, or is it still
no,
in good taste?
I think so. It's old, so it's outdated, but I think any tackiness that it might have once had has like worn off with age.
So like something, not saying this is the actual image, but like Baroque French, but in the English countryside.
Yeah, like someone definitely built it planning to like build a manor or something there, and then something happened, we don't know what, and this is kind of all that remains. So extravagant, I'm gonna say even ostentatious.
What does it say on the signpost? Was it just called the carriage house?
Oops, at the edge of, why is that so many words? Sign reads the parlor.
Oh, love it.
Yeah.
Just picture someone saying, I'm going to the parlor to get a ride, and people getting confused.
Yeah.
Nice.
And I'm even gonna add in guilt. Nope. I feel the need to explain, since I don't usually type on stream, my keyboard and I are not faced the usual way. So I do type much better than this normally.
There's a reason the camera's on your face, so we can see you go with two fingers like this.
Yeah, just my R.L. Stein typing.
If it works, it works.
Uh,
We're almost there.
yes, specialty goods.
What goods or specialty products is your town most welcome? Besides the parlor, besides the creepy woods, do you sell the best sheep? Do you fire the best brick? Do you have someone who makes amazing wooden toys? What are we? Is everyone who comes through here shocked at the fact that everyone under the age of 10 can cook?
I really like the idea of not weapons and not toys, but like this is where your craftspeople are, you know, your bed frames and cupboard doors, and you know, you do, and maybe some of these people will like leave, you know, travel and carve things elsewhere, but they come back and like this is their like where the craftspeople, you know,
Yeah.
live.
When you say wood frames, door frames, bed frames, there's
Carpentry,
two types
I
of
guess.
forest: woodworking,
Yeah.
carpentry, but like artisanal carpentry.
Yes.
Their swallowtail joints are always perfect.
Thank you. And I think there's also a bustling like seed industry, like botanicals, starters. Yeah.
Okay. So are there fields where you grow crops to make seeds from, or are people having like those raised beds around
Raised
their
beds,
houses?
there's some greenhouses, that sort of thing.
Exactly. It's very indoorsy, very close to home, not those giant sprawling fields that wheat farmers make.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Cute. Nothing a good hailstorm can fix.
Exactly.
So all of those questions so far inspire the next one. I'm just gonna talk a little while you keep typing. Because the side sound smells, this game loves the S sound, which I hate as a person with a lisp. So it's always a fun time. But it's when a traveler is coming close to this town and is entering it, what are they seeing? What are they hearing? But also, what are they smelling? So if you have a town full of wildflowers, obviously it's a very heavily flowered scent. Whitecap smelled like the ocean, and patchouli, because it leaned heavily on the server bro archetype.
Sure.
You know, Zuckerwald, which literally translates to Sugarwoods, was a piney forest smelling thing that you couldn't smell for the life of you because they did nothing but bake sweet treats, so everything smelled like carbs, honestly, carbs and sugar. Like inhaling, you'd gain weight. It was an amazing place.
It sounds amazing. I'm
So
here for it.
Coming up on this town you're making, as of yet unnamed, I'm seeing what colors are the houses? Are they all made of wood? Are they made of stone? Are they made of clay? Is it all bronze work? Do you, like, everyone here is carpentry. I'm assuming we hear a lot of industry, but are they hand saws? Are they using magic? What does it sound like? And then, of course, what does it smell like?
So it's definitely very wood focused. Like I said, most buildings are well furnished and decorated with wooden architecture, decor. They have stone bases and then wooden upper halves. You know, if something has a basement, stone, but at least half of the first story or ground floor. The floor on the bottom of the building where your front door is.
Every time.
At least half of that is going to be stone, and then the upper everything above that is going to be wooden. And
Yep.
they might not be elaborately decorated, but there would be, you know, like the cross beams at the top of the house might have little decorations. They're always going to be finely crafted, even if they're not elaborately crafted. And so there's a nice fresh air smell. It's not that heavy pine, because there's a mix of trees. You know, you've got the different types of forests. Fresh air with hints of
At least you're not breathing just sawdust.
yeah, hints of cut wood and I think flowers, because of the different greenhouses, and who knows what they're cooking up. You don't cook at a greenhouse, but you know what I mean.
You can if you want to.
And then there's the usual sounds of you know, bustling markets.
Yeah, I mean, it's 3,500 people.
Yes, there's
Is there
logging
like a stream?
sounds.
Yeah, logging, working. Is there like a stream nearby or a river that you could hear, or is everything coming from like wells?
There would have to be a river, I think, for the even though lumber itself isn't their main trade, it would have to be there, I think. So I think on quieter days, you could probably hear the river.
Nice.
The nearby river, bustling market sounds, and I think there's, you know, with a post house like that, there would have to be a good, not horse industry, but
They have stables. So like horse breeders, or do they just find the good ones and ship them off?
I mean, it does seem like an unusual addition for a carriage house, but on the other
if you're
hand,
logging, you probably have like Clydesdales pulling logs in and out of the forest.
yeah, but they'd be with their, like, I don't think they would necessarily stay there.
Fair.
I think I will skip the horse sounds, because that's also probably implied.
We'll catch them under logging sounds.
Yes. All right.
And then my favorite part.
I'm sure it is.
What is the problem, or what is one of the problems that is currently threatening the town? Can it be monsters, or bandits, or like a drought, or a problem with the mayor? Anything at all.
Yeah.
And this is the part where Ryuutama sort of pushes the Ryujin like under the bus. If monsters, it might be fun to come up with some new ones that don't appear in a monster list.
Nice.
AKA, make your Ryujin stat them out. Have fun.
Yeah, because I would love to say my first instincts are just things that are like too real and miserable to like think about, like wildfire, which there's at least here constant problems with.
Fair. The thing is, you don't have to you don't have to work out the entire thing, right?
Sure.
You can just say like an unusual amount of wildfires.
Well, and I was thinking maybe more like something is like there's a new blight in the trees that's kind of not only
So when
like messing up the wood, but also like the woods.
Yeah, and your herbs and your water and
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, sure. But for like your wildfire example where you're saying this is too real life and too close, If you leave it as unspecified, it's just saying there's more wildfires than usual.
Mm-hmm.
Um, to use the example of Whitecap again, where their problem was there weren't any waves, and they needed to pick the next mayor, so they need to have a surfing competition.
And you
So the
can't do
characters
that
had to go
with.
figure out why there weren't any waves, and it turns out that there was an injured dragon who was using the bay to recuperate from its wounds, and in order to do that, it had like calmed the surf so it could sleep. But the fact that there was a injured dragon sleeping there is something that I, as a Ryujin, came up with from the town problem that was simply written as they can't pick a new mayor.
Right. So it's just like a bullet point to build off of.
Yeah. So if you just say there's a weird new blight, then it is up to me, because we're doing this for part of my campaign, to figure out why, where, what, how. It's not up to me to pick a solution. That will be up to the players if they ever get here. But what is actually happening is you can make them much broader than the bullet point you pick now.
I love it.
And then the worst one. Town name! It's so hard. Naming things is so hard.
It is. I think kind of going, I do like kind of keeping it in theme.
Okay.
I can't. There we go. I think I'm just gonna go with Crosswood.
Crosswood? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I've written it as one word.
I will also write it as one word.
I was gonna say I leave it to your discretion because I'm looking at it and it doesn't look quite right.
It looks like you can't spell crossword.
It really does. I think that's the problem.
I'm gonna make 2 words.
I think so, yeah.
It's
nope.
Yeah. Safe changes. Yeah. At least then it doesn't look like I'm too dumb to spell crossword.
Or crosses wood, maybe? I don't.
Come up with something better before the campaign starts, let me know.
Yeah, I'll workshop it in my
mind.
All right.
But that concludes your town creation sheet.
I love it. I'm very happy here.
So when you do it with the group, you just go around and have people answer their questions with input from everyone else, which is why someone can make a 50-person village suddenly be several acres across. Because why make things make sense?
Yeah, it's it's a fantasy world, and that's fine.
Exactly.
Okay. So, we have a character. We have character town.
Yep.
Is there anything else you wanted to touch on?
I think we've covered most of it. I've talked a lot, I think.
It was all good. Are there any final thoughts on Ryuutama that you want to make sure? I mean, obviously, like if we were gonna say as a review, like this would be favorable because you adore this game.
I do.
Are there any, like things that after everything we've said, you want people to walk away with understanding?
Just that this isn't a game if you don't like RP first collaborative storytelling. Like I have a Pathfinder group who likes to roll dice like 40 at a time, hit stuff, move on, hit the next thing. I will never play Ryuutama with them because it's not their thing. If you like collaborative world building, if you like pretty art, and if you like deciding things with your group and making those decisions together and telling that story together, which may occasionally involve hitting a Nico Goblin over the head with a frying pan, then yes, Ryuutama would be a great game to try at some point. It's just very, very nice and very, very brutal at the same time.
Ghibli meets 127 hours.
I mean, I had someone wake up in the morning and go down to 2 hit points right away in the desert.
Absolutely
he walked
incredible.
into a cactus. It was messy.
All right. I'm going to put the casting call back in the chat. I have been your host, Eva. You can find me on Twitter, mostly, at the Eva Serrates. We have a variety of things coming up. We will sort out what we're doing on Sundays here soon, I promise. I'm so sorry. Some more one-shots. We will be doing Humblewood at some point here soon. And then we will roll into Ryuutama. This Thursday at 4 p.m. Pacific. Some ungodly hour Central European.
I don't even want to know.
No. Mare will be starting their campaign of Invisible Sun with Fraying Threads. And then we will be back on Saturday for Horizon's Call. And if you want to tell people where to find you, I will put commands in chat.
Okay. You can usually find me on Twitter. Currently my Twitter's a little messy because we're coming up on general elections in my country and I have opinions. But there's also a lot of RPG stuff. I'm here most Sundays, but scheduling and messy things. Starting April 9th, I'll be here every Sunday running Ryuutama for a little bit. Then eventually I'll also be back here with more Wiesen. And there'll be a bunch of one-shots because I have to run Sunken and some other things that I backed. There'll be Drama Llamas. And one thing I do have a date for that isn't on this channel. I know, I'm cheating on you. I'm sorry.
But we're very excited to see it.
Yes. I will be on Monopod Studios. They have something called the EU Happy Hour, which features UK and European streamers. So I don't have to deal with the Ungodly Hour. And on April 21st and May 5th, I will be in a Tales from the Loop game based on the same TV show. With the GM Maori nerd. So we'll be playing Tales from the Loop, but set in 1980s New Zealand.
So excited.
I'm so excited. I don't know what time PST, because I didn't have to do time math.
We'll figure it out for next time.
Yeah, so 8:30 CET. You ask Google.
We'll figure it out.
It's an hour later than Wiesen normally. No, an hour and a half later than Wiesen.
11:30 Pacific time. Yeah.
I will believe you, because it's 8:30 my time and I'm done at like 11:30. It's fine.
Yeah.
I can do that for 2 Fridays. I'm so excited. I've been dying to play more Tales from the Loop.
Yeah. We love Free League.
We love Free League, but also love the TV show. Just the weird Scandinavian.
I have to figure out where
alternate universe sci-fi bullshit.
Yeah. Always down for that. Today we are going to raid Ali Mac, one of our beloved co-players and mods. And
More Kitten Heist.
We will do more Kitten Heist at some point. Have a few storylines to shore up in that, I believe.
I have some NPCs to murder.
Yeah, you do.
They killed my friend.
Allegedly. Thank you all for joining us.
Can't tell me she's not dead.
We will see you next time.